Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. Thanks for being with me. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope Monday's good to you. Thank God for another day in the greatest country in the history of the world, creating more freedom and opportunity than ever before. Blessed by God to do it. I'm blessed by God to be able to talk to you people, and thank you for that. First of all, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Mortgage Financial Services in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org. Oh, and I got a correction the other day. It's Church on the Rock will love the hell out of you. So now you know. All right, we're gonna do just a little catch up from the weekend. A lot of news dumps happen on Friday, a lot of things in there, and I was just going through my notes and didn't realize how many articles I had sent myself. So we're going to kind of go rapid fire. I'll expand on some of them, and I'll just depend on you all being able to look up some of the stuff too. And there's that. Hey, I want to start with the fact that I went to the Bowie County Commissioner's Court today here in Bowie County, Texas, and just wanted to get a feel. I talk about a lot about a lot about state and national government. And that being said, I've got U.S. Congressman, U.S. Representative Nathaniel Moran going to record a show with me on Saturday, and so I'll have that for you next week. But I wanted to know it at the county level. I've been to some city council meetings, but I wanted to see what goes on at the county level, and that was informative for me, and just to see the process and see what's going on there. Okay, let's jump right in. X.com, Eric Doherty. I sent this to myself at 7:41 p.m. Friday evening. Breaking: Attorney General Pam Bondi appoints Ed Martin to investigate Letitia James and Adam Schiff as a special prosecutor. For the same things that they accuse. Here's the thing about the left. They only accuse you of what they're doing. If they're like, oh, the Republicans hate babies and old people, that means they do. So they're going to investigate them over mortgage fraud. Which, once again, if they didn't do it and they can prove that, then it should all work out. However, it's just going to be a racist whatever, right? It's going to be, he's just trying to get even. We didn't really do all this. And the media is going to carry the water for them, as they always do. So anyway, look, I've never thought, really, that anyone of high level heads will roll, right? But maybe since Trump's like, hey, they came after me, let's go get them. Maybe that broke the ceiling on this. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And if they're innocent, or if they can't be found innocent, if they can be found not guilty, they will be. Let's let the evidence stack where it mays. This from Publis on X.com. Breaking: Stephen Jensen, the acting director in charge of the FBI Washington field office, has been fired. You're about to see a lot of this, hear a lot of this. Here's what I believe has happened for the first 6 months. There was already a plan. They already knew where some of the bodies were buried. They just had to get in there and root them out. Let some of these things come to the surface. I believe you're about to start seeing a lot more officials such as Stephen Jensen and others start to hit the fan. Let's see. It says, in addition to Jensen, the acting director in charge of the Washington field office has been fired. In addition to Jensen, former FBI acting director Brian Driscoll is out, along with Walter Giardia, who played a role in the lawfare against Peter Navarro. All these guys they're going down. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to jail or whatever. It just means they're being let go. And I'm okay with letting them go. Let's get them out of the way. Let's don't promote them sideways, right? Especially in government, you're like, oh, that person can't do their job. Let's just move them to a different spot so we can get this section running good again. Good. This is from the New York Times. I sent it to myself on, looks like Saturday, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. New York Times. Zelensky rejects ceding territory to Russia after Trump suggests a land swap. Zelensky can't win this thing. he needs to realize that the American people are not for it. Therefore, Donald Trump won't be for it. So now look, when it came to us selling weapons, that's a whole different thing. But we're not giving him anything. It might be time for him to go. I've been saying he's a thug. He's been a thug since before all of a sudden we bought into him. He's a gangster thug, and we don't need anything to do with Zelensky. Now, the problem is that this will be denied, but you can read it in certain places that we have, bioweapons factories over there and facilities. That's the real reason why we've been in so long, right? Bioweapons facilities in the Ukraine that are funded by our government that we don't want Russia to have control of. So that's why Trump's going to be like, hey, well, you take some land. But if Zelensky continues, they'll just Muammar Gaddafi him. Bashar al-Assad, Saddam Hussein, the same thing. That's how he got there. You don't think our government, our CIA, look, they did it to Donald Trump. You don't think they know how to throw out dictators or just leaders of countries? They did it. They made that operation happen here inside our own country. You don't think they could get rid of Vladimir Zelensky if he doesn't play right? Absolutely they can. And that might be what's coming. I don't know. They don't invite me to the meetings. But there you go. Okay, SC, so Sierra Charlie, M, like mango, P. SCMP.com. China is urged to monitor disputed border as India upgrades road to move tanks. Like, this is a big deal. These are both nuclear powers. We don't need the Chinese and the Indians going off on each other. However, I do not call for intervention because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And we are China's enemy. They're very clear on this. They're trying to get together on the BRICS nation, on the BRICS money. But if they go to war with each other, they're sure not going to have the same common currency. So we just got to let this play out, I think. Just kind of stay out of the way. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's keep an eye on what China and India do. They will go to war with each other. They don't like each other. All right, moving on. Politico.com. Foreign governments bet big to lobby Trump on tariffs, but most come up empty. Now, this is a refined way of saying at a higher level, Trump can't be bought. These companies are spending all this money to send lobbyists and all these things to influence him and to do all these things. Well, look, I've had former FBI agent, special agent on my show that said, hey, look, that has dealt in mob cases, said if Donald Trump wasn't touched by the mob in New York, nobody can touch him. I guess that's why a lot of the things when they start saying, what about the Epstein list? If they had dirt on the man, they'd have already used it. He came out clean of the construction business in New York. He is not to be bought. He is respected for not being able to be bought. So some lobbyists coming in, which also leads to the thought, maybe we should pay our legislators more. Hey, you're not allowed to take a book deal for 10 years once you're out. You're not allowed to go work for any company, but we're going to pay you $1.5 million a year. We're going to pay you enough that it doesn't matter. Maybe that should be the thing. Then that way they won't sell their souls in order to work on anybody besides the people. Oh, they could get the wrong type of people in there. We've already got some of the wrong type of people in there. So not an obstacle that we have to worry about, as it's one that's already ongoing. So there's the thought on that. Oh, this is wild. This is from Carlos Turcos on X.com. The mayor of Arlington, Texas. Okay? And if you haven't seen this video, you need to go watch it. Newly surfaced footage identifies Texas Arlington Mayor Jim Ross at an LGBTQ festival telling a Christian preacher, "I'd your old lady in the ass." He says he's supposedly a preacher, but he's there for, to support the gay pride stuff, which, if that's what he wants to do, that's up to him. But then because someone's there that's a Christian preacher, he's like, no, then he's threatening sexual assault on this guy's wife, and he's the mayor? The absurdity has gone too far. Now, obviously you can question, what did the preacher say to him? And if he said something wrong. Look, Texas is a mutual combat state. Why didn't they just declare mutual combat and go at it? Hey, look, we're going to fight this out real quick. Just throw down. Why do people get so worked up when their feelings get hurt that they feel like they can tell you what to do? Okay, you want to go support the all that? Okay, have your parade, do your thing. If it's sanctioned through the city, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to go. But this guy was also executing his constitutional right. So you tell him you're going to commit sexual harm on his wife? What a sick thing to say to somebody. And he's mayor. I hope this gets more traction than it has gotten, because it has gotten zero traction. And it's wild to me. The things we put up with. The things we accept as okay. It doesn't bother me really when people curse. I curse. It's just not one of those. It's not one of those things that sticks in my craw, as they say. But to say you're going to commit sexual harm on somebody's wife, good night. That's wild. Just wild. And then to say that, and you're the mayor? Come on, man. That's nuts. All right, let's move on. This is from resumetemplates.com. Resumetemplates.com. And this only stuck out to me because I've hired so many people in my life for the different companies that I've worked for. Nearly half of Gen Zers have their mom regularly talk to their boss. I had this happen towards not even towards the end. At one point in my banking career, I had a guy show. No, actually, I've had it happen twice now that I think about it. And they were both boys that were obviously raised by women that didn't teach them how to be men. Let's just start with that. And they came up and I asked them, and they're like, can we sit here? And I was like, I guess. Let me go ahead and let you know, at that point, I knew I wasn't hiring them. When they asked for their mom to sit in there, where Step Brothers made it funny, this wasn't, right? And is it Pan or is it Pam, But where the Step Brothers made it funny, this wasn't funny at all. You don't take yourself seriously enough to be able to speak for a job that you think you want, or your mom's pushing you so hard that she's going to come do the interview for you. Listen, moms, that isn't the way. So I knew instantly both times this happened to me that I wasn't hiring this person. However, on the first one, the second one just didn't last very long. I'm like, yeah, thanks, have a good day. But there are certain, especially depending on what industry you work on, if you're regulated by the federal government at all, you have to ask certain questions, the same amount of questions, same amount of time, because heaven forbid you just assume something about somebody. So I asked him his first question, and his mom goes, well, I said, no, ma'am. No. This is his interview, and actually made her take a chair farther back. It's wild. Nearly half of Gen Zers' moms regularly talk to their boss. And so that's about other things. Oh, little Stevie's not 3. Let him come do what he needs to do. Just blows my mind how incapable, how much we've handicapped, how much we've, in the correct usage of the word, retarded the growth of a 10-year period of the population by coddling them. They say that Generation Alpha is going to be the ones that save us because they're tired of all of it. Right? Older Gen Z, and then Gen Alpha, they're like, we're through with all this. We held their hands so much, we wouldn't let them order their little Happy Meal at McDonald's. We wouldn't let them speak to the waitress. We didn't teach them how to pump gas. Mommy's got it. We never made them go outside. You didn't have to go take the trash to the curb. You didn't have to water your own dog. Little Jimmy was mean to me in the playground, so instead of punching him in the face like you should have, you were told to call your mommy, and then she called that mommy, and then we had a play group together. And then, punch that kid in the face. Oh, I'm going to get lunch detention. Yeah, okay, we've all had it. Everybody got a trophy. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Oh, we've got bullies. Punch that bully in the face. It will end. My dad often said to me, hey, when you go in there, whether it was for an interview later in life or even in high school or whatever it was, hey, when you go in there, shoulders back, chest out, head up. You're a man, go act like one. I've heard that more times than I can count. And now when I go in somewhere, I think, oh, shoulders back, head up, chest out. I'm Zach Ratliff. No matter what the world's putting on you, you're expected as a man to go in and act like one, not to have your mama call and talk to your boss. Oh, we need some vacation. Nah. Either take it or don't, but don't have mama call. Anyway, that just got all over me, especially since I've interviewed people that it's happened. All right, let's move on. X.com, Jesse Waters. Breaking, Democrat staffers are leaking like crazy about Jazzy Crockett. And it's brutal. Yeah, they're hammering Jasmine Crockett right now, saying, that she just lays around like the Queen of Sheba and expects everybody to wait on her and dote on her and do all the things. And that's the power, right? That's what these elected officials want. Even if they start with the best of intentions, that's what it leads to, that you're my servant. You serve me. You do what I say. No. I don't like it at all. But that's what we've gotten. That's where we are. And admittedly, it's a problem. Well, the redistricting thing may take it out. And look, they can redistrict Jasmine Crockett and she can run in the new district. And if the people want her, they will elect her. The problem is they don't think that'll happen. Okay, Project Veritas drops something. ProjectVeritas.com. Former Attorney General for Donald Trump and I think George H.W. Bush, Bill Barr. Bill Barr has held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump. The swamp was in the last administration. The swamp's in this administration. Not as badly, but they're fighting it still. That's why things are moving slower, because they're having to fight the swamp every way. The man's own attorney general turned against him, trying to slow it down, helping Letitia James, helping these people know what to bring up, who to ask, what questions, what roadblocks to put in the way. They're not worried about you. They're not worried about me. They're not worried about if I can buy groceries and put gas in my truck and make my truck payment and pay my property taxes and then all the income taxes I've got and hopefully be able to send my daughter to piano lessons. They don't care. They just want the power. They just want to be able to tell you what to do, to dictate with you without ever considering at some point the money runs out. At some point the people rise up and say, we've had enough. I'm not calling for a violent insurrection. I'm calling for us to rise up with our votes like we did last year in November. We have to remember, we cannot forget that these people are still against us. We haven't won anything. They're already planning for a Democrat takeover of the House in 2026, because generally that's what happens. It flips back. Well, of course it does when you have Mike Johnson and these coward Republicans going, not allowing the recess so we can get Donald Trump's appointments. Right, we're going to ask Congressman Moran about some of that on Saturday. Why are we allowing this? It's a wild deal. Breaking, Right Angle News Network on X.com. Breaking. Just after Doge Florida began its on-site audits, Gainesville, Florida city manager resigned after 4 years in the role. Nothing to see here. That it's amazing how that happens. USAID gets shut down. All of a sudden, all these organizations are running out of money. All these news networks that the advertisers are on are canceling shows and aren't making any money. All these politicians that always had so much money are coming out and asking for donations. We've been funding all of this stuff that was working against us for God knows how long. And we've just cracked the iceberg. There's no telling what's in the middle of it. We're like the squirrel on the movie Ice Age. We're jumping up and down on the acorn trying to shove it down, and it hadn't even broke open yet. And the same thing's going to happen. If we can ever break the dam, if we can ever break it and make it happen, there's a flood of information coming and of scandal that won't just be on the left, it'll be on the right. And all these lawless bastards will see what they were for. And I'm okay with it. We need a system that's for all of us. Not just the left, not just the right, but for every one of us. Moving on, the Wall Street Journal. Trump weighs reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Look, that's the least of my concern. I'm going to be honest with all of you. Put some age limits on it. Find a way to tax it. Roll on. You want to do it, do it. You don't. Ian Yeager, X.com. Breaking. Former FBI employees are warning that mass firings have begun at the Bureau. Yeah. Good. Let's keep it going. X.com Lady Vet says, remember what the Democrats want you to believe, that they have the best in people's best interest at heart. But just remember this lesson from history. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. 100% of Republicans supported it, and only 23% of Democrats supported it. 14th Amendment gave citizenship to free slaves. 94% Republican support. The 15th Amendment gave the right to vote for all, for women and, for everybody. No, was that right? Let's see. The right to vote for all. I think that's just for men. However, 100% Republicans, 0% Democrats. Jim Crow, all the things. We have to remember who's who, no matter what they tell us. Let's see. There's some good stuff down here I have to get to. Pam Bondi drops a list of what hit. You can go see that. J.D. Vance, in a message to the DOJ made on Fox News over the weekend, then repeated on X.com by Eric Doherty. J.D. Vance says, let's pull the actual quote. I don't know how anybody can look, talking about the Trump-Russia stuff that Tulsi Gabbard just released. I don't know how anybody can look at that and say there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. We've got to have consequences, or we're just going to see the same thing play out. And the actual quote is, got to have consequences for it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Trump's saying he's going to take control of D.C. today. There should have been a press conference already. I just hadn't caught up on all that. Got to stop the lawlessness. The District of Columbia is under control of the U.S. government. It is not a state, so and only since the 70s have they had a mayor. So good, yeah. Let's get that under control and for it. Here's a statement by Donald Trump. We're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our capital safer, and he just goes on to put some of that put some of that Trump on it, if you know what I mean. The Telegraph. The fight's getting dirty between Ken Paxton and Senator John Cornyn. Ken Paxton means business. John Cornyn is tied in to the machine of Washington. So I'm interested to see how this is going to go. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with all of this. Let's see. Breaking. This is yesterday. There will be a curfew for all D.C. juveniles. So that's good. A curfew for all D.C. juveniles. MAGA voice on X.com. Are you ready for that outrage, though? Are you ready for, oh my gosh, you have a curfew. Oh my gosh, you have all these things. Like, it's going to be wild. How racist to expect people to follow the rules. That's what's coming. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good day, and may God bless you, and we'll be back and do it again tomorrow.